Hey yo, what's good, guys? It's your hero, some zeros hero, and today I'm coming at you guys with my tier list for My Hero One's Justice 2. I wanted to wait a minute until everybody got their thoughts together, most of the tech was discovered, until I got my feet broken in, my experience and whatnot. I just really wanted to know what I was talking about before I made this list. Now, at the time of this list, it is March 27th, 2020. Obviously, I'm going to be updating the tier list as more patches and tech is discovered for the characters, but this is just my opinion as of now, with the current tech that we have. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, by the way, one more thing, I am not going to be including assist. Okay, this is just strictly for characters as the main fighter. I will be making a separate tier list for assist directly after this one, but let's go ahead and get to it. So, we are going to be ranking the characters top to bottom, S to D, obviously, but the characters are also going to be in order from strongest to weakest from left to right. So right off the bat, just to get this out of the way, anybody who plays this game should already know that Mirio Togata is currently the best character in the game. He has great frame data, awesome guard break. Literally, this guy can go invincible and come out with like little to no frame delay at all whatsoever. He's just a monster. He's a complete monster online and offline. And when you go against him, there really is not a lot of room for error. You got to be on your shit if you're going to beat a really good Mirio. So we're going to go ahead and put Togata as the #1 character, S tier. So next we got Uraraka. I fought one the other day who was playing at a really high competitive level. But her shortcomings is definitely gonna put her at B. If it wasn't for her having to sit there and like pick up rocks and whatnot, like having to take the time out of the match, like pick up rocks to basically like stack up on ammo, she would easily be an A tier character. Her damage is amazing. Her quirk is crazy, makes for great mix-ups in combo game. They just did a really good job designing this character, and they did a really good job by balancing her by her needing time to actually kind of store up, the different rocks and objects around the stage to really make use out of her most damaging combos. But she also has a really great range too, handy when you're boxing characters who want to get in your face, for Mirio Togata, for example. So next we have Eraserhead. I might get some haters for this one, but this dude is a C, and honestly, I was tempted to put him in D. The reason why he's not going in D tier is because he does decent damage. His damage is literally just that. It's decent. The thing about Eraserhead is that his moves don't really come out the fastest. His combat moves are a little bit on the slow side. His erasure is a little bit on the slow side. And and you have to really drink your plus ultra gauge if you even want to extend your combos to get decent damage out. He really needs a buff. I'm not gonna say they did a terrible job of designing his kit. I just really think he needs a damage buff or a frame buff. Something so he can at least consistently be able to get his attacks out against his opponent. Momo, off the bat, D tier. I'm sorry, best girl fans who may think that Momo's best girl. There's literally no way I can put it to words how bad this character is. Quite literally, she cannot do anything. Like, her combos are terrible. They all have so much startup lag. Her quirk is really finicky and easy to whiff. I just don't know what they were thinking when they designed this character. She definitely needs a buff and is definitely one of the worst characters in the game. Next we got Gran Torino. Gran Torino is a C tier, but he's a solid C tier. The reason, he's extremely fast. He's great for mix-ups. The biggest problem that I see with Gran Torino players who even played him at the best level he can be played at is that once they get in, it's like, what are they gonna do after that? They'll go in and his combos are so finicky and suffering kind of from a similar problem that that Momo does. It's like he doesn't really have a lot of options. He can get in, but he doesn't really have the tools he needs to make the most of it, basically. Also, for someone who's really fast, he has a tough time disengaging as well. So, there's that. So yeah, Gran Torino is C tier. He's definitely going to be getting a buff in the future. He's way too fun of a character and has way too much going for him, I think, for them to leave him where he is now. So I definitely see him getting some type of buff in the future. Next is Tenya Ida. I tried to do my best to find a tech needed to make the most out of this character, but he just when you're in a game where you can air dash and in a game where the arena is just so big and everybody else these major AoE attacks, being able to run really fast doesn't really come in. It's kind of, he suffers from a really similar problem that Sonic does in Smash Bros. Ultimate, where ground speed doesn't really serve a purpose here. Like, yeah, after his ult, you know, he gets this like major speed boost, but even then, if you get even touched, that speed boost is gonna go away. He just doesn't really have a lot going for it. There really is just no reason to play this character over any other character. So yeah, he's decent. He's in a decent place. He can do decent damage, but not to mention his moves will also whiff very easily in the air as well. So with Tinya, you really want to keep the fight on the ground, which is one of the most unsafe places to be, especially when you're going against the likes of our man Shigaraki. Shigaraki is another kind of beast in general. This version of Shigaraki in particular, who's a kind of a much more defensive version of the other one, his zoning tools makes him really hard to approach, and while this particular Shigaraki struggles getting in, he makes sure that you struggle getting in as well. You know, a lot of the time when you're fighting against these type of Shigarakis at a really high level, you're going to find yourself in neutral for a really long time. There's very often going to be a stalemate where one of you are going to be waiting for the other to slip up on defense. It's just going to be kind of a shield versus shield kind of battle, and it can be really slow. But the reason why he's a B tier is because he doesn't really have the damage to make the most of when he does get in. But at the same time, the reason why he's not any lower than B tier is because he has the defensive tools, which in a fighting game is defensive tools are everything. You know, he has the defensive tools to kind of keep the opponent at bay, giving Shigaraki players time to kind of fill out their opponents and see what their game plan is. Now, anybody who's seen my video.
Now you're gonna come back at me, right? Nah, bro, I got you. Oh, are you serious? You get me that table? Come on, are you serious? Where's my frames? Where are my fucking frames? Nah, I'm mad now. I'm mad. Where are my goddamn frames, man? I'm gonna die from this. Oh, Inasa, you're fucking dog shit. You're dog shit. You're dog shit.
Know my feelings on this character, dude. He had so much potential. You know, on paper he seems really cool. You know, he can shoot wind from his palms and stuff like that, and you know, he just has such good stage control when he really is going. The problem with this character is he has the most terrible frame data, and that's one thing you do not want when you're in a fighting game, is terrible frame data. So many characters will outpunch this dude. Like, let's say you guys were to throw an attack at the same time. 9 times out of 10, this guy is gonna lose. This guy is gonna lose the trade, and that's gonna be damage on his health bar. Not only that, but he doesn't have a consistent combo. You know, if you guys go and watch my video, episode 4, you'll see that I was able to pull some combos with him, but I'm shitting you not when I say that was pure luck. You know, that was just me pressing buttons, and you know, those were rehearsed combos, yes, but it was pure luck that it worked out, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on how close you are to a wall or not. It's just, his combos are extremely inconsistent. You know, they riff very easily. He has terrible frame data, but he has good damage though. You know, his damage and his rage tools are too good for him to be D tier per se, but he definitely has too many inconsistencies, and his frame data is too terrible for him to be any higher than C. Alright, so next we have Red Riot. Alright, so this is one of those characters that was really hard for me, because I've seen people who are really good at this guy and really bad at him. But overall, from what I've gotten, he's definitely B tier. Actually, I'd say he's maybe even above Shigaraki for similar reasons. He has great defensive tools. Now, he suffers from a similar problem where he has to drink his plus ultra gauge a lot for extensions to really get decent damage out of his combos. He also has semi-terrible startup frames on a lot of his moves, especially his quirks. But when he gets going, he kind of has this snowball effect where he can virtually be unstoppable. If anything, I'd say his gimmick is like a weaker version of Mirio's. And that's kind of the biggest thing about this character. You know, he can harden himself and absorb damage, you know, just kind of get this perma super armor that'll allow him to just keep on comboing. The biggest issue though is that why would you play a character like that where you still got to take damage to give damage back when you can just pick someone like Mirio, go invincible, get trades, and not take any damage at all, you know? So he's a decent character. He's not bad. Great damage, but he's not the best, and he definitely has a solid spot in B tier. Our boy here, Tokoyami. The thing about Tokoyami is his combos are extremely finicky. He's another plus ultra gauge drinker, and another big thing about him is him being able to switch from long range to short range. That's his main gimmick, and honestly, this character's kid has a lot of potential. He's not dead yet per se. He definitely still has time. I feel like if they get with the right buffs, he can definitely be an easy A tier. Especially considering his defensive options. Whenever he summons Dark Shadow, more times than not, Dark Shadow being summoned or desummoned will knock back the attacker or even deflect some attacks. He has really defensive. The problem is his options. His offensive options are literally not the best. He also has an extremely weak plus ultra move, and he just doesn't really have the damage to be any higher than C. But at the same time, he's able to at least somewhat take a punch or two, which definitely puts him above D tier. Next, we have Mr. Compass. In the right hands, Mr. Compass can really do some major damage. He's definitely one of the more characters that people are trying extra hard to, I guess, kind of get a hang of. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's the magician angle that people like him so much, but he's one of those specialized long distance fighters, and he has really good mix-ups. But the thing about Mr. Compass is that while it's good to get to know him, to get the most out of him, the more you play against him, the more predictable he is. You know, there's a certain ceiling that you hit that you can't break depending on your opponent's knowledge of it. Like, if you fight someone like me, who's not only explored the Compass character, but also fought against them a lot, there's more times than not, I'm gonna see what you're doing next, and I'm gonna counter it. And that's the thing about Compass, you know, in order to keep him balanced, you know, keep his quirk from being super OP, you know, there's this startup, a particular specific startup, be that on the ground or just looking at him in general, that'll be like, hey, here comes a move, get ready. You know, and that kind of really limits his potential as a character because of how predictable he is. Because predictability in a fighting game is everything. You know, you want to be able to have mix-ups, which he does. You know, he does have some mix-ups, and he does really decent damage. And honestly, how goofy the character can be and how abstract he can perform, it's kind of what gives him his edge if he had one. So he's definitely B tier. Next we have Endeavor. Endeavor's another weird character. He does really good damage. He has really, really good reach. I think one thing that keeps Endeavor from being his strongest is definitely his startup. But similar to Red Riot, when he gets going, and his super moves, they do hella damage. So I definitely say he's a solid B tier. Next we have All Might. All Might is a weird factor. He has the weirdest, goofiest combos ever. But even played at the highest level, there really isn't a reason to play All Might over, say, Kendo Rappa, All for One, or 100% Deku. You know, just other brawler type rapid fire characters. All Might's, he suffers from combo inconsistency. And he's also another plus ultra gauge drinker, which can make really long fights bite you in the ass. So I'd say he's like definitely C tier. He just doesn't have the raw, you know, fast-paced capability to be a solid B tier. Next we have Muscular. Muscular, I might get some hate for this, but this man is D tier. Without a doubt. Maybe he's above Momo, but he's definitely D tier. The fact is that he got completely replaced by Kendo Rappa, but we'll get to that. He was a big factor in the first game, but in this one, he's just so mediocre that you'll see a lot of people not bother playing him, and that's because not only is his combos short, but they don't do a lot of damage. In order to really get the most out of him, you got to sit there and kind of, I guess, charge up your muscles. If you try to charge your muscles near an opponent, you know, they'll be automatically tacked on, but then you only really get one combo to run before it goes away, and there's too many gimmicks and scenarios to be ran with this character for you to pick him up and consistently get results. You know, nobody, especially in a game like this, is just gonna sit there and wait for you to pack on your muscles. And then again, if you somehow do get in, let's say you do have your muscles, you know, you're doing everything right, all the effort that it just took for you to succeed with this character, if it was spent on someone like Mirio Togata, you would have probably taken like half a health bar. When with this guy, you just spent your entire life just trying to take 20%. You know, there's just too much effort, not enough payoff. Speaking of too much effort, not enough payoff, we have Sir Night Eye. Now, Night Eye had the potential to be, he still has the potential to be a top tier character in my opinion. With the right buffs, Night Eye can be a freaking beast because this quirk, the counter, it counters any and everything, including plus ultras. I tested it myself, and it also kind of, when opponents use moves, more times than not, they're gonna kind of move before. For them, they're gonna be slowed down, but for you, you're gonna get to see what they're doing before they do it, giving you time to either throw an attack yourself, throw a plus ultra move, block, dodge, get out the way. You know, he just has such a good quirk. Not, and speaking of quirk moves, his little chess piece darts, his stamps, they go hard too. Where Night Eye falls short is he's a plus ultra gauge drinker, and his combos are extremely inconsistent. Like, extremely inconsistent. So if they fix his combos, he's definitely gonna jump from C straight to A, like without a doubt. But right now, if you're gonna play Night Eye, the best way to do it is just play defensive, spam your counter, and hope for the best. But you know, that's pretty much all you can really do. Speaking of somebody who has not enough damage to really get use to their potential, we have Himiko Toga. Now, I might get some hate for this, but you know, she's definitely not C tier because her quirk is too powerful, and I'm gonna get to why. But at the same time, her combos and what she can do, it lends her a solid spot here, right behind Uraraka. And the reason why she's there, and not any higher, any lower, is because she has, not only does she have two super armor moves, but they both come out extremely quickly. Not only that, but her guard break attack, while it's extremely linear and easier to whiff, it also comes out fast. She has one of the fastest guard break attacks in the game. Really great for combo starters. But you know, her comp, for me, in my opinion, if your character can't do at least 10k damage with the plus ultra gauge extension, your character's not meant to do damage, right? And normally that wouldn't be a problem, but in a game like this where as much damage as you can, because the thing about this game is that when you find yourself able to combo someone, you want to get as much damage on that person as possible, because otherwise you're going to be getting supports knocked off you, they might be blocking, etc. You got to make the most of the opportunities that you get. You know, all the characters so far who are B tier and below, aside Uraraka can definitely do this. She definitely has the damage to make the most of these opportunities, but you know, I already told you why she's in B tier. You know, 10k, the reason why that's the standard to meet is specifically because that's kind of like 25-30% of that person's health bar. It should take 2, if not 3 full ran combos to kill your opponent. And the thing about these characters is that they can't even do that. Himiko Toga being one of them. I've labbed the shit out of her, and the most I was able to do with her was 9.8k, and that was by literally spending 2 bars of plus ultra. No joke. Maybe there are other Toga players out there who were able to do more with 2 bars of plus ultra, but you gotta look at the fact that there are characters in this game who don't need a plus ultra bar at all to really get the most out of it. You know, it's just she can barely reach the bare minimum. She has the tools to be a threat. I'm not saying she's a bad character. That's why she's B tier. Her knives pack a punch. They can wall stamp people. So when you're playing Toga in an arena that has a lot of walls where you can like smash them into it, she'll have the advantage, you know, because she can constantly just knock you into those walls, you know, and get the resets. But it's very situational, right? I feel like where Toga's strength comes from is when she transforms, she takes away your access to your assists, which can be very powerful. Not only that, but assuming that she still has her own assists, that's 4 assists. So now that's you versus her with 4 assists. That's a pretty big deal. Even if she doesn't use the assist, the fact of the matter is that you can't. And assist is kind of really the only way you can get people off you should you get caught in the combo. So someone having the ability to take away the power of it's extremely powerful as a quirk alone, and that's why she's in B tier. So moving on from that, before I rant too much, you know, we have Shoto Todoroki. Todoroki is one of those characters who I had a lot of high hopes for. They balanced him really well. The problem with Shoto is that he's too well balanced. He does really great damage. When he can get in, his fire lasts for a long fucking time. Then there's this ice. If you run into the ice, you get frozen. And the frame, while it's very tight, if you get frozen, it can be followed up by a plus ultra move or a plus ultra extension. You know, he just has a lot going for him in neutral. But the thing that keeps Shoto from being any higher than he is his frame datas. His moves come out so fucking slow sometimes. He doesn't suffer from the problem as much as Inasa does, but it doesn't change the fact that his frames, you know, you'll find yourself getting outboxed a lot. You know, you really gotta depend on your ability to read the opponent and your in the knowledge of your enemy's character to really get the most out of Shoto Todoroki. But he has great air game and great ground game. I feel like if they were to buff his frames, not too much, he'll be decent. But if they buff his frames too much, he'll definitely easily jump from B tier to S, like without a doubt. Next we have Twice. Twice is another goofy character that I think people are trying a little bit too hard to get the hang of. He's another one of those people that struggles to hit 10k, so he already suffers from damage. His frame data is meh. I feel like the main thing that kind of keeps him in the running is his quirk, the ability to copy, you know, your opponent. Kind of like assist, but this assist will linger. It will stay on the stage, and you'll get to control this character using your 2 quirk buttons. Depending on who you're fighting against, this can be a really big advantage. But at the same time, depending on who you're fighting against, this could not really fucking matter at all. He's just one of those characters that's like made of inconsistencies, and it kind of makes sense considering his character in the canon. You know, you never know what you're gonna get with him. But as a fighting game character, Twice just really doesn't, like, he has good air mobility. You know, I'm trying to think of something good to say about the character. He has great air mobility. Him being able to zip around makes great for mix-ups. The problem is when he lands. When he lands, you're left open for like a good 2 seconds. So you're gonna get those cheeks clapped. Actually, now that I mentioned all that, I'd say he's definitely right here in front of Eraser, behind Ida. Sun Eater. Sun Eater is another one of those characters that has stupid fucking damage. Stupid thick damage. Actually, congratulations, he's our first A tier. The reason why he's our first A tier is his frame data isn't the best, but it's definitely not the worst. His damage is crazy, and you can get so much out of this guy for just 1 bar plus ultra. Actually, you could probably even hit 11k with him. Like, he's really, really strong. His super moves does a lot of damage as well. Not only that, but he has a really great jump, and he has an extra jump as well, which is really good for kind of kiting your opponents around. He just has a lot going for him. Like I said, his one weakness, he's kind of a low tier clapper, and he'll find most of his struggle fighting other characters who are A tier and above, you know. But if he's going against a character that's like B tier and lower, you shouldn't find yourself struggling that much. Speaking of which, now we have Shoot Style Deku. Literally in the same boat as him. Actually, I'd say he's here. Shoot Style Deku, just like Sun Eater, is a low tier eater. You know, he eats low tiers for breakfast, but he finds his challenge against other high tiers. Shoot Style Deku, the reason why he's so high is because his frame data is so damn legit. This dude, his attacks come out so fast. His combo extensions are nutty. He can get a lot from just plus ultra gauge extensions alone. His one limitation is he has a very linear combo window when it comes to getting off his ultimate. It can easily be cut off by assists. That's pretty much his only issues. Other than that, he's a really solid character. Like I said, he has fast attacks, great damage. He has one of the hardest hitting plus ultra ultimate moves in the game. So yeah, you know, Shoot Style Deku finds himself at a comfortable spot in A tier. Now we have Asui, another D tier easily. She's another one of those characters that I really tried my hardest to lab and find the good in, but she just really doesn't have a lot going for her. She has a great jump, great range, and mix-up tools. But the thing that holds Asui back the most with the particular tools that she has, is she just doesn't really have consistent combos. She's really dependent on plus ultra bars, and it's really easy to whip her ultimate. This character just needs a buff. There's really no other way to put it. Chances are if they're in D tier, they're in desperate need of a buff so they can even compete with the B tiers. Next we have Mineta. Fuck Mineta. I'm sorry. Run that back. I hate Mineta, dude. Good Minetas are so damn annoying. He's one of those characters that while they can be predictable and have kind of like a linear combo game, when they get in, they get in. Mineta's one of those characters that they can hurt. You know, like these little gobstoppers right here, they do such nutty damn damage, and their plus ultra move does a lot of damage too. And it can be really easy to whip your combos against it because of how small he is. The only reason why he's not any higher is because of just that. He's predictable. A lot of Minetas are going to play the air game and then they're going to air dash at you. A lot of Minetas, when they're about to attack, you're going to see it coming. Once you get experience and you go against enough Minetas, the thing about him is that you have to play flawlessly. You can't let him touch you. If he touches you, that health bar is about to get smacked. But if you play careful and you play smart, you're going to beat him 9 times out of 10. And that's why he's B tier. Next we have 100% Deku. 100% Deku is A tier. I'd say, actually, I'd even say he's behind Shoot Style and in front of Soul Leader. Mainly because, a lot of people are gonna be bolstering this character, especially the bigger YouTubers like Globe2 and Ray Sizzy, whatever his name is. This character is not that strong. He's strong enough to compete with other high tiers, yes. He's strong enough to have the advantage against low tiers, barely, right? If let's say for example, 100% Deku had to go against Uraraka, he's gonna struggle to get in because of her spatial tools. The tools that she uses to space people out, he has terrible defensive options. That's why he's going to struggle against her. He's going to struggle against Shoto because he's going to have to find a way around the ice. He's going to struggle against Mineta because he has to get in close. If he gets in close, Mineta might be able to touch him. If Mineta touches him, he's dead. If he goes against Togata, all of these characters, except when you get to C tier, all of these characters so far in B tier have a way of properly boxing 100% Deku. And so the only reason why he's A tier and not B tier is because of his ranged move. His bread and butter and the strongest way, the one thing that you can always fall back on when you're playing this character and you find yourself in the corner is his side quirk. His side quirk, when you press triangle to the side if you're playing on PS4, when he shoots his little foot laser that goes, horizontally, that is your bread and butter. That is your lifesaver. I'm 100% Deku main, so I'm speaking from experience. That is what's going to win you your games. Because you're going to be forcing your opponent not only to maneuver around it, but to block. If you can catch your opponent blocking, 100% Deku is one of those characters that has one of the best guard break potentials in the game. You can just pound away at their guard, and with the right button presses, you can easily break it in one setting, and all you need is one shot to do so. And you can do that with Deku. But if they nerf his move, and how long it lingers, and how far it goes, 100% Deku might even drop to C tier. Because it's that broken ass ranged tactic that's keeping him, but at the same time, there is a way to play around it. You can dodge, you can jump to go go get away from the move, but it's putting you in a position where you have to pick one of the options that your opponent wants you to. 100% Deku is ready for that. He's pressuring you to pick one of those options, and if that person capitalizes on that option that you picked, you're gonna get cucked, and that's what makes his character so strong. He basically forces you to play a certain way, but it's all from that one move alone. That one move alone is the only reason why he's as high as he is. Next we have version 2 Chisaki. He's a solid C tier character. The reason why he's a solid C tier character is he's too fucking slow. He has a gimmick. Only thing you really do with this character is just spam rocks and whatnot. He's fodder. That's probably the main reason why you won't see this character a lot. He doesn't really have a lot going for him. Actually, I wouldn't even say that he's above Night Eye. He does decent damage, so he's definitely behind Night Eye. But the reason why he's behind Night Eye is because Night Eye at least has a consistent way to box opponents. This guy, if you catch him, you're gonna beat that ass, point blank period. He doesn't really have any way to deal with opponents who are faster than him or can get in close. Oh my god, Nijime, or however you say this bitch's name, I hate her, but she's a solid A tier without a doubt. Her engages are so crazy, her disengages are so crazy. She has amazing range moves, amazing close combat game. This is one of those characters that are just really good for the sake of being really fucking good. She's one of those characters that can hit 13k on their combos easily off of 1 plus Ultra Gauge alone. This is just not one character that you want to be caught in a combo loop by. If you're going against a good one of the Nijime's, or however the hell you say her name, chances are your supports are going to be spent like the whole game. There's just never a moment to rest when you're going against this particular character. The only reason why she's not S tier in particular is because if she misses, if she launches an attack at you and you dodge, there is a small window where you can hit it. The thing about Mirio is that if he misses an attack, that window isn't there. You know, dumb Mirios who are super aggressive, yeah, they'll get exploited, but good Mirios who know when to play defense, if they miss an attack, they'll be able to defend immediately. This character doesn't have that luxury. So that's why she's A tier, not S. Next we have Fat Gum. Fat Gum is an easy B tier, top of B tier. The reason why is because he can either play as the ultimate shield or the ultimate spear. You know, he's really good at absorbing damage and, you know, kind of he does decent damage. The only reason why he's B tier and not C per se is because after his ult, if you can get him to be Skinny Gum, his damage picks up like crazy. Like Skinny Gum has some really rad moves and tech to be found. I labbed him for like a good day, and I still found that there were more options to be discovered. You know, more things that you could do with the character. So the thing about him is that if you can get the ult off, it's basically like going Super Saiyan, to say the least. You know, if you get that ult off, you're gonna go Super Saiyan, and you know you'll find a whole nother version of the character that you gotta master and just kind of get the most out of. But he's a really decent character, really decent tools in neutral, great defensive options, solid B tier indeed. Next we have one of my favorite characters in all of anime, Deku. Right? I know I already went to these guys Deku, but these are like plot device Dekus. This is true Deku to me. This is the Deku that was at the sports festival, the Deku that, you know, busted his ass to kind of put up a fight against Todoroki. I'm a Deku fanboy. Leave me alone. You know, this Deku is really decent. And where he struggles is that if he misses a combo, his ass is grass. He can only really do so much. So against an opponent who's kind of conditioned you, you can find yourself playing predictable and you can't help it. You have to really depend on the opponent fucking up to get the most out of this character. Another thing that really holds him back is that while he has a really strong ultimate plus ultra, his regular plus ultra, the one gauge where he shoots the fireball, it's garbage. The damage is not worth the strain that it puts on Deku's body. I have lost countless matches that I should have won because I was beating someone's ass and mid-combo Deku's body gives out. It's not worth the trade. I feel like if that's the case, they should definitely buff the damage on his one, on his plus ultra one, because like, you know, not only is Deku going to be paralyzed after like 5 seconds, but for every button you press afterward, except for the move button, you're going to be losing health. You know, that's too much of a trade-off to say that your plus ultra move is only doing 9k damage, something that you can do on your own without using your plus ultra at all. It's just not worth the trade. So that's why he's at B tier. Next we have Chiseki Aftermath. Chiseki After is definitely a solid character. This is definitely hard. I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna put him after Sun Eater. Once he gets in, Jesus Christ, it's hard to get this dude off. He is like a moth to your flame. This dude's mobility on the ground is nutty. The only reason why he's so high is because of his damage and what he can do when he gets in. His combo extensions are crazy. His ult whiffs a bit, and that's why he's not S tier. Another reason why he's not S tier is because if you play the game a lot in the air, you won't struggle. Because this character can't really do his thing if you're in the air. You know, this character is dependent on zoning you. This character is dependent on you being stuck on the ground. And if that's not the case, you're good to go. So when I play this character a lot, I camp the air. But then again, if you're playing a character who doesn't really have a lot of tools in the air, it's going to be a stalemate. Because he may not be able to do much to you, but you can't do much to him either. But if you're playing characters who are, for example, this side of the B tier and up, then you'll be fine if you camp the air and just kind of, you know, spam aerial attacks. Now we have All For One. All For One is another solid. Actually, I'm not gonna say he's A tier because he, top of B tier. Top of B tier. He has dumb damn damage, dumb stupid damage, dummy thick. Literally, the only reason why he's not A tier is because the frame data on all of his quirk moves are extremely mediocre. Aside from his rapid punch, he has this one move where he can teleport you no matter where you are in front of him, opening you up to like dummy thick combos. However, if you're going against a character who outframes you, like shoot style Deku, for example, if he teleports you, you'll be able to retaliate and kick his ass. So that's why he's B tier. He's a low tier stomper. Basically, everybody who's behind him from here on out, All For One can stomp. He's definitely the top B tier character. But at the same time, he'll struggle against characters like this who kind of revel on fighting on the ground and getting in close and, may have the faster frame data to, kind of compete. Next, we have Dinky. He suffers from an extremely similar problem that my boy, regular Deku does, and that's that, he has great potential, but to get the most out of him, you have to kind of take this risk, this kind of high risk, high reward kind of factor with him. And when it gives out, his body, you're gonna be screwed. That's particularly why Dinky isn't gonna be. He's kind of tied with regular Deku as well. They both have really similar gimmicks. But the reason why I'd say Deku is above Dinky is for the simple fact that Deku can at least get more out of his regular form without straining himself. Dinky, the only real way you can get decent damage out of him is if you snap and use his super form, and it's not worth it. So, all right, next we got Jiro. Jiro is another one of those characters that has uber amount of potential, and with the right buffs or the right nerfs, it could easily make or break this character. But she's definitely really balanced right now. She's in a really good place. I'd say she's A tier. She's easily A tier because she's one of those characters that can not only function a lot from a distance, but also up close as well. She has crazy combo game, whether she's from a distance or up close. There's just a lot of different ways that you can play this character and defend with her. The only reason why she falls shorter than the other A tier characters is because of her frame data. And you're gonna kind of notice that trend a lot when you're looking at the top tiers, from A to S, is that a lot of the reasoning behind why these characters are going to top each other is mostly going to come down to frame data. Because in this game, you can only really do so much. Your character can only really be so good, and in certain situations, it's going to come down to who has the faster frames. Next, we have Chi Hasaki. He is an interesting case. He's definitely a really decent character. He has good tools. He has good tools, decent frame data. He has a lot of stage control. There's just a lot that you can do with this character. The only reason why he's B tier is because his damage is so damn low and pathetic. He's one of those characters that doesn't just struggle to hit 10k, he can barely even hit 7. So, the reason why he's B tier is, just because of that, his damage. But if they were to buff his damage, he'd easily be A, like, without a doubt. But also another reason why he's not lower than B tier is not just because of the tools that we mentioned, but he can consistently get in. He can consistently get in, consistently get out, and tack on 7k after 7k after 7k. He can kind of go back and forth. And then, like I said, it's the weakness in his damage that kind of keeps him from really shining as much as he possibly could. All right, next we got Seiji. Seiji is really good from a distance, but he doesn't fare so well up close. The reason why I'm gonna place him where I'm about to place him is because of his lack of damage. He definitely has decent tools as a character, and he does what he does really well, but he just doesn't really have the damage to make the most out of his particular tools. So I definitely say he's right behind Mineta. Next we have Dabi. Suffers from a really similar problem. Dabi depends on a gimmick. He only really has one good move in his kit, if we're being completely honest, and it's his flamethrower. You don't really even have to really lab this character. You're gonna find yourself wasting a lot more bars and energy and effort in general to get damage out of Dabi when you could really just press attack flamethrower. So, but that being said, he's really weak against block. He's really weak. He's really easy to get to, and he just really needs a buff. Being one of the cooler characters in the game, who was clearly meant to be someone more complex and harder to pick up, he's just kind of fodder. So I'm definitely going to put him here at the top of C tier, without a doubt. He does decent damage. He's kind of a shit stomper when it comes to new players, but anyone who's experienced, I don't see them struggling against this character at all. Next we have Stain. Stain is one of those characters where it doesn't matter what the matchup is, he's only really as good as you are. He's definitely going to be here at A tier because he has great frame data, really good way to close a distance, so he's definitely one of the better characters in the game when it comes to dealing with spammers. He just has a lot going for him, damage-wise as well. I'd want to say that the one part where Stain truly struggles is he's a plus ultra gauge drinker. To get the most out of his damage, you're gonna have to spend a gauge, be that on the ultimate or on a combo extension. So if you're playing Stain and you're left without any plus ultra at all, it's very likely your damage isn't going to be going past 6k or even 7. So, but at the same time, he has really great tools from a distance. You can either hit your knives to teleport, or you can even do a quick dash with your blade. He has great air mobility as well. He's just a really solid A tier character overall. Next we have Gang Orca, who's another solid A tier. I feel like he's really underrated. Maybe it's because of his appearance or his lack of screen time in the show, but nobody really seems to understand how powerful this character is. He's not only really good from a distance, but he's great up close too. His combo extension game is freaking nutty. If his frames were any faster, he would easily be A tier. Like, actually, he's definitely above Tomura. If his combos were any faster, he'd be a complete monster, dude. Like, it's what he can do is crazy. I can't even put it into words. You really have to see it for yourself. Like I said, the only thing that really holds him back is his frame data, and it's similar to her. You kind of have to depend on him missing moves to really get the opportunity to fight back, because if he touches you, especially if he has some assist that can help him extend his combo even further, you're gonna lose more than like 80% of your health. Like, Gang Orca is capable of some terrifying things. Not only that, but he's great against dealing with spammers as well, because he can throw up this supersonic wall that can not only cancel out attacks, but also push you back as well. Like almighty push of some sort. Next we have Mina. S tier character without a doubt. Great frame data, great damage. Her extensions is crazy. From a distance, up close, it doesn't matter. Mina will be on that ass. Assist or not, plus ultra gauge or not, she will be on that ass, dude. Honestly, if she had the same quirk as Mirio, she would even be above him. The only reason why Mirio is above Mina is because, her quirk not being invincibility. Invincibility is too good of a quirk, but, Mina got crazy combo games. She can basically do everything that Mirio can do, if not even faster, and his quirk is kind of what keeps him as king. Speaking of which, saying all that, I definitely say that she's S tier as well. Her frame data and her armor move and her distance and just her tools in general are too powerful to just kind of leave her in A tier, but her quirk keeps her from being past Mirio or Mina. The only reason why Mina is past her is because Mina's frame data is literally slightly fast. Mina's combo extensions are just, oh my god. Oh my god. Next, speaking of crazy combo extensions, girl power for sure, dude. Cammy is ridiculous, dude. She's definitely not as crazy as these two, but she completely shits on everybody down here. Not only is her quirk extremely useful, but her combo game is crazy as well. Pretty much the same thing as the other two. The only thing keeping her back from the top 3 spot is her frame data. Next, we have Katsuki Bakugo. Katsuki Bakugo is one of those controversial characters that people are going to argue whether or not he's high tier or not. He's an easy A tier in my opinion, though. Easy A tier, right behind 100% and right in front of Sun Eater, because his frame data, while it's definitely on the decent side, his damage and his ability to he has great defensive tools. He has great defensive tools, great armor. He can either knock you back or pull you close. He has a grab that he can also use to extend combos for free without spending a plus ultra bar. And then if you do spend a plus ultra bar, you can reset the whole process all over again with the grab, and he can you in this endless banana loop until your assist comes back. But so Bakugo is one of those characters, just like Stain. He's really only as good as the person who practices him. Bakugo, it doesn't really matter who he's fighting against either. He can get in, he can get out, he can just really do it all. But the thing about Bakugo is that you really have to practice your ass off to make the most out of just exactly the damage that he can output if played correctly. Next we have Kendo Rappa. Kendo Rappa is extremely underrated. I'm actually tempted to put him right. Actually, I am going to put him here. He's definitely top 3 without a doubt. He's going to be put in front of Mina. Not only is his frame data great for such a big dude, but his range is crazy, his combo extensions are crazy, and the amount of damage that this dude can do to your face without spinning a bar is completely nutty. He gets super armor on his plus ultra move, so he can use it in trades. This character right here is definitely going to make waves when more people actually get to know the game. This Kendo Rappa is not to be fucked with. The only reason why Mina and Mirio are above him is because they both have the tools that they need to kind of box him consistently. But everybody who comes after, they're gonna struggle even putting their hands on this dude because chances are he's gonna be getting to you first. He's also really terrifying from a distance. I know he walks when he's not sprinting, but if you run at him, thanks to his frames, and he attacks or uses one of his great super armor moves, you're gonna lose that trade. There isn't really a lot of opportunity to get at him, you know, unless you have like impeccable frame data and a move that can somehow outframe or super armor that somehow outframes his super armor, and then even then it won't ever outframe his plus ultra. He's just a really powerful goddamn character. Like it's ridiculous what this guy is capable of. So this is my tier list for One's Justice 2, guys. I'm sorry if you don't agree. I'm happy if you do. If you guys disagree with anything on this tier list, though, I'd like to really know your opinions down below in the comments, because these are just my thoughts and my experience with playing the game so far, getting to know these characters, playing them myself, and playing against them. But if you think any of these characters should be higher or lower, go ahead and let me know down in the comment sections below. If this is your first time to watching the channel, thank you so much for coming. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, because I do make uploads every single day. And I hope to see you guys the next time I play or the next time I stream. Some00 signing out. Peace.